Second clap, Marcus, so you don't have to wait.
Cheers, mate.
No worries. Got your back out here. 0121 money on the map. And beginning in... Oh, no! Oh, it started. Right, that's it.
Shit.
Too late, can't count it in.
We're on.
Hello, and welcome back to the Fifthunit podcast. Uno numero 30. Today we just have myself, Chris Harrison, and this man over here.
Marcus, just the two of us today.
Marcus Dell.
People seem to be dropping off.
Everyone just hates talking to us two, so they just left, I think, is how it works out. Or everyone's just busy. You'll never know because you don't know us. You just have to try and figure out if you ever see anyone that we know.
Maybe I'll get bored after this one. It's just going to be you from now on.
I would kill that.
Yeah.
I'd literally just be like, right, these are the videos you should watch. This is my opinions on this. I just go through all my opinions, and they wouldn't have any contrast, so no one would be able to talk back to me. It'd be great. Everyone would have to agree with my opinion.
The one-man show.
The one-man show that is Chris Harrison and his terrible opinions. Oh, before we get into some topics, have you seen the thing in the gym where like they have like the quote? It's like Sophie's favourite quote. It's like
I have.
What is it? Oh, it's something like, it kind of made me laugh, but it's kind of cool at the same time. It was like, what was it? Oh, it was like it was something about bad taste. Like
yeah, you're exactly.
This is a terrible thing to do on a podcast because we just start trying to remember something.
Yeah, it is. But now I'm invested and I'm going to get
same.
it. Oh, it's something like no one can tell you about your own bad taste. Or it's something.
Yeah, it's something like proper like cliche, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah, and there's Connor's one as well, which is slightly more. Oh,
that one was just a classic. It was like, always work harder. I was like, cool.
Yeah. Oh, there's something about don't quit. Like,
don't quit.
I've come too far to quit now, or something.
I think it's literally that. It's just it's just terrible.
Yeah, they're right above the deadlift platform. It's like mid-set, this little dance.
Don't quit now. I'm almost there. Yeah, that's fucking. They're kind of crease. I like those.
Yeah, they're good. They're good.
But moving on from our gym and what we read in the gym. Today we're going to cover a few topics, hopefully you'll enjoy them, they'll be cool. The first one I kind of thought we should talk about would be like injuries and like dealing with injuries, and then also like how we've got them and how they occur and how you can prevent them maybe and all that kind of jazz. So how do you feel? First off, how do you feel about injuries when you get injured?
It's so bad. Like honestly, I'm sad that you asked this as an intro into the topic, but I don't want to bring it down too much so quick. But it was only my most serious injury, and the only one that's sort of kind of notable is my knee, which happened last year, the beginning of the year, it sort of flared up. And what it is a horizontally torn meniscus. My meniscus got a horizontal tear, and that came from actually hiking. So a bit like a backstory for it. A few years ago, me and my dad went and hiked Trolltunga, which I think is just like a thing that so many people in the community now have done as well. And we did it after. It's not. I'm not saying we were there before. I think I probably got the idea from either the Brooman boys or Toby, anyway, but I sent this.
I have a funny story about that.
Yeah, I sent this article to my dad and I was like, Dad, do you want to do it? And he was like, fuck yeah, let's go. And that was in September, and we went, and my knee flared up quite a lot on the way down because it's a hell of a lot of steps. That last hour or two, fuck man.
If you don't I think if you're not used to that sort of shit, it can clap you like proper bad. It's steep as fuck. Yeah,
it is, and I'm fairly used to like hiking, or at least at the time I was.
Like drops and shit.
Yeah, and it's still and it really flared up, and I ended up for the rest of the trip for the next few days I was kind of like, we continued doing some bits and bobs, and I was in like a knee brace just to help. I thought it would give me a little bit of extra support, and now I'm kind of have a different thought on that, but either way. And then it kind of went away again, and for a few months it was kind of, that was it, fine, forgot about it. And then the following year in, I believe, January or February, we went up to the Lake District and did some hiking up there, or the Peak District, and then up to Lake District. And it was coming down a hill called Chrome Hill. That pain started to come back, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, not again. But didn't think too much of it, because last time it went away, after the week.
Yeah.
But it just didn't go. It just stayed, and it was just like this really like deep ache, like under, kind of under the kneecap, right, kind of where the patella is in a way. That was my first thought. Maybe it's patella tendonitis. But that was right before me and Finn did a little trip. We did Iceland, as you know, we did Iceland, America, and Canada. So all throughout that trip, I
video on YouTube.
Video on YouTube, yeah.
Pretty sick one. Big fan.
So I had a knee brace pretty much all the way through that, and was able to train on some days, and then but would tend to be a complete write off the following day, and it was a bit kind of like jarring. Had a bit of a downer on the trip, but still like I had an amazing time. But from there I then went to see a physio when I got back, because I was like, this is silly. I'm not, this is clearly something more than just overuse or something. Yeah, and I was then referred to a surgeon. The surgeon essentially told me there's one procedure you can do, which is something like a suture. Or, do you know what that is? I can't
A
quite
suture
remember.
is like the way they stitch up wounds. So I don't
That's
really
it.
know.
Yeah, so they were gonna they were gonna basically do 3 little, almost like cable ties around the meniscus,
and then like tie it. Yeah.
He said that's pretty much your only option in terms of surgery. It'll last for a year and then may well drop out anyway. And it was horrible, and I came home, but my kind of whole point of this was that it was only in getting that injury that I realised just how important training is to me. Like, it's not just a sport or a hobby or something, like, so much of what I do is invested into that, or like the gym, I eat healthily, all this stuff basically just to
train.
So that was like really eye-opening.
That's kind of cool in a way, but it's also a bit shit that it had to come from like that.
Totally. But before that, it was kind of, I hadn't really had like an experience that. Yeah, I say. But I mean, my point of that story was basically was that. But just to finish it off, I then went and my dad suggested I got a second opinion from someone else, which I mean now seems obvious. And I went and saw a chap in our town called Massimo, and he basically gave a completely different outlook onto it and said. Management and essentially rehab is going to be your best way forward, and like longevity wise as well, and just him being so positive about it. I remember leaving his thing beaming. I was lit, but I smiled, and I was like walking better, just having that like positive attitude towards it, and it was but before seeing him I was just like in such a rut, and I thought like training was out, like done.
That's weird, because like when like even like seeing you during this period, like, so I didn't even clock that you like had a bad knee until East Croydon sort of time. I like knew you were wearing a brace in the America video, like sometimes, like quite a few times you were wearing like a support, and I didn't really clock then that was because your knee was bad. And then like I think it was like there was like East Croydon one where like we were training and you were wearing a brace, and I was like, you're not supposed to wear like supports while training because it hinders like your movement. And you were like, yeah, but I need to because I can't take the impact. And I'm like, what do you mean? You're like, my knee's fucked. I was like, oh. Like, I didn't even clock at all. And I didn't even know, like, until it wasn't until like that sort of time when I was like, what's going on? Why, how's your knee fucked and shit? And then you were like, and you explained it, and it was sad.
Yeah, I remember not really saying anything about it.
Yeah, I feel like you kept it under wraps for a while. And I was just like, oh. And then eventually you came out of it, and you're like, oh, my knee's gone, guys.
Yeah, so I'll just before we move on, I'd like to just also say that I was doing, I became quite good friends with Cordelia from Seattle, Cordelia Storm.
Yeah.
And she offered to help me out with some kind of rehab stuff and some stretching and some like mobility work, and she was incredibly helpful actually, and we Skyped several times and we're working through some bits and bobs, and that was super helpful, and I felt like a real benefit from that within like weeks. Wow.
That sounds really good.
Okay, you go. What's your experience with injuries? I know you've had a fair few more than me, I think.
I mean I've like I don't feel like you've had like any like injuries from like have you had like proper bad stuff from like training? Like just like bailing a jump and like hurting yourself?
Not really. The only one really is when my toes pinged out on the stride at BT in Red Hill.
Oh, what? And then you hit your like, side.
Yeah. So I just got super confident or overly confident with the strides, lost concentration, misplaced my foot on the takeoff, and that pinged out on the takeoff side of the wall, and then I just landed on the second kind of hip, ribs. Yeah, that, and I walked away fine, just bruising and a few days, and I was kind of fine. But the repercussions of that were the mental. Like I still struggle so much with running prees, and it all stems from that. Yeah, but physically, that's kind of it, really.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never I say never. I usually get like knee shit, but that's because I recently found out like I've got the flat feet and that my knees go inwards because of my flat feet, and that I should be wearing insoles. I'm still waiting to get insoles because NHS is slow when you don't necessarily need it. And that was even like I had been going to physios I've been gone to physio like I'd say like 10 times in my life, just because like I had like tendonitis when I was younger, and I went to physio for that, and they were just like, because I used to do kickboxing, and that was always like, and that would like loads of jumping and kicking, then like you have to like stand your grounds a bit, you know, it's like a lot of like foot placement, like planting yourself on the floor and shit, and so like it can take like some impact on your knees sort of thing. And so like when I had that, I got like Osgood-Schlatter's, which is like the classic like young kid growing up doing too much exercise, where you get like the lump on your knee. And then like after that I got like tendonitis, and then like I'd like seen physios and stuff for that, and like they never said anything. They were just like, oh yeah, if you just like stop for a bit you'd be fine like that, and then like start again you'd be okay. And I was just like, okay. And then I just like took breaks and stuff, and it would just come back like even after taking breaks. But recently I got told my feet are flat, and that makes your knees go inwards, which makes your joints less strong, and so that's why my knees are kind of fucked. But they're getting better, especially after I'd say with the gym, it like has strengthened my knee. So I don't get tendonitis so much anymore. So I don't have to like, because it used to be literally like once a year I'd have to stop. I'd like have to like last year I had tendonitis for like, I was like I can't do double kongs for like ages because my knee was just like clapped. That was like once a year. That was just I just had to stop because my knee was just, because my tendonitis just flared up again. But it hasn't happened in ages. And I feel like that's because of the gym and like strengthening like the tendons and shit. And the physio said that like all the stuff I'm doing is pretty good, and we'll strengthen it all and like should keep it nice and strong, just as long as I'm not overworking myself too much. If I overwork, then it's going to make it worse, but it should be alright.
Yeah, that I had a similar thing. Massimo said to me, I remember at some point I'd kind of plucked up the courage to ask him. This is kind of before we got onto the this is sort of in the initial talking about what had happened, and I was kind of telling my story and experience of the surgeon and stuff, and I think I just plucked up the courage to ask, like, am I going to need to stop training? Am I going to need to, or you know, is that going to have to change? And he went, I think you need to carry on what you're doing. What you're doing is you're maintaining strength, you're protecting that. Yeah. You're protecting your meniscus, all the muscles around that you're building up and maintain. That's like a secondary shock absorber.
Yeah.
And that was just the best thing you could have said.
Yeah, that's
honestly. Sick. But yeah, but the gym as well, like, and I think the good thing about the gym is, especially now, because my knees go in as well. I mean, Cordelia was sending me screenshots of, I did I
know the exact one.
Yeah.
Like concrete to front out at Wandsworth, where you like, and you're like land the concrete and your knees are inwards. Yeah. You like screenshot it and send it to me or the chat or something.
It's brutal. Yeah, that's horrible. Looking back now, I'm just like, fucking hell.
Yeah, that's awful.
But anyway, but being at the gym is a good way, I think, for example, on squats to just really look, and you know, you're staring at yourself in the mirror and you can see your form and just ensuring that you're building up the right areas of strength. And I don't know, I haven't really watched myself back with that in mind, seeing if it still happens like subconsciously, but maybe that'd be worth doing actually.
I know it happens to me on one specific move, castaways. I always land castaways, and I'll land 2 feet together, but I'll feel my knees like try and go in.
Really?
Yeah, and I'll like feel them do that, but because my feet are together, they'll just clang instead of like proper like going inwards. But if I land a castaway wide foot, my knees would go in. I just know they would. I don't know what it is. I think it's just the way that I come out of the flip. But like I can like feel it. It's so weird. But like I try not to do it. So
I went for a cycle ride with my dad the other morning, and there's a a part of the ride is quite a long, steep incline up to a little pillbox from I guess World War One or World War Two.
Yeah,
up on
I
Ranmore.
think I know which one you mean.
Yeah, there's quite a few around here actually.
Yeah,
Anyway, and it was during that, and this is the first time I've clocked it. I felt as I was getting more tired towards the top of the hill, I could feel my knees coming in towards the frame of the bike, trying to get more power to keep going. And and I'd clocked that. I was like, yeah. So it's still there.
Yeah.
I guess it just for so many years I trained that like.
Yeah. Well, so as a kid I was like, I don't know why, I always like watched people walk, and like that you know how that you see people walk and you see people's like knees turn inwards, or like their feet like go inwards and shit, or like their feet go outwards. I always clock that, and I would always be like, I don't want my feet to do that. I want my feet to go straight. So I've always focused on my like walking straight and feet going straight and all that shit, just because I never wanted to like have to walk with like a limp because I like forced my body into the wrong position, sort of thing. Because I was always like a bit prangy about that. So like now when I walk, like even now, like I'll be walking home and I'll be like, oh, knee went a bit inwards on that one, and I'll just like try and make sure I walk straight. It's really weird, but
fair play.
It's something I do.
Yeah, fair play. I'm starting to feel a bit of a niggle in, I don't know exactly where in my back, like actually kind of quite high on my back and out towards the kind of, the back of my rib cage sort of. A little kind of thing, and I don't really know what it is, but I'm just wondering if I'm still compensating for the knee, if I'm, preferring to put my weight on my left-hand side when I'm standing at work or whatever it is, if I'm kind of just subconsciously taking strain off that, even now, and it's in a good place now. Like it's not better. It never will be, but it's trainable. It's usable completely. But I'm wondering if I'm overcompensating.
You seem
and then
solid, so
yeah, and I feel good as well, which is great.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if that's still
affecting
a thing,
you,
and
minorly affecting you. Yeah,
and I might be kind of out of balance.
Yeah,
up at the top.
Oh, sorry. I got like the same thing where like I've got a big old bum bruise at the moment.
Yes.
I can't like sit, like certain times I can't sit properly, so I have to try and find the best way I can sit while keeping my like body straight, because if I like sit completely at an angle, it'll just fucking jar my back, and I hate that shit. So I like literally try and stack myself the right way, otherwise I get really upset. I also like when I stand up, I like always lean over onto like one foot, so I'll do that onto my left foot, onto like my left hip, and then because I'll notice I'll doing it, I'll then switch to my other hip, so that it's like both like get like the same thing, and then I'll go back to straight.
Nice.
It's proper weird, but I just like clock it. I'm like, right, I can't be having that.
Yeah, no.
I've always hated the idea of like having one side stronger than the other, or like all that sort of stuff. Even though I know like my left leg is just like it's not like I always get proper prangy. I like look in the mirror, but oh, my left leg is bigger than my right leg. Like, what if it is just like way stronger? But I don't. It's like after like when you go to the gym and stuff, you sort of find out it's not that much. Like if it is stronger, it's not like always that much stronger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do see it's not huge, but there's a difference in my Bulgarian splits. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Between legs.
Mine has a difference, but mine's like more. The balance is the difference. So like.
Mine too.
My like. On my stronger leg, I feel more balanced and like structured. On my right leg, I can do the same weight, but I feel like less balanced because I feel like it's got less like a bit less of that strength in it.
Yeah, mine's exactly the same. I mean, actually, also just in terms of like a imbalance on sides, I used to play a lot of cricket for 8-9 years, like a long time. And I remember hearing during that time, at one point, I'd heard that archers back in the day, whenever that I'm so shit, I don't even know when that would have been given that, but anyway, they would be super they'd have essentially like a really strong arm. How true that is, I mean, I'm sure it is to a point.
I mean, it depends. So like they probably have the strong like pulling arm, but then their shoulder on this arm would be fucking jacked because they have to hold the bow up the whole time. Yeah,
for sure.
So it'd be contrasting like muscles.
I don't know how like anyway, but I'd heard that, and then I was suddenly incredibly conscious of, because I was a bowler, so I'd be fucking laying this arm down like I don't know, 60 times a weekend, and then whatever it is, so I became super aware of that, and then I would sounds so silly, I'd choose to carry, if I was carrying shopping with my mum, I'd always do it on my left hand side to try and to try and balance it somehow.
I'd always take 2 bags and I'd always try and have them be the same weight. And if they weren't the same weight, I'd swap round so that like halfway through the walk, so that I could make sure like I'm like, always balanced.
Totally. Yeah.
Proper
yeah.
like proper weird
That's
shit.
funny.
It's like proper paranoid shit, but it's just like it's just kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool at the same time, the fact that you're like trying to be aware of like muscular impact, because people get like so. There's a kid at the session who has he's like, oh, a better example, Ethan. Ethan's been told that his I can't remember, it was either his back or his chest. One of those is way stronger than the other side. Like that's why he does way more exercises for the other side, because it proper imbalances him. Like it like affects him in a bad way. Like
This is Ethan Knowles, one of the boys that trains like locally to us as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was a kid at the session the other day was telling me his right shoulder, like his right side here, is way stronger than his left, and it causes his like chest to be like to one side. Yeah. Wow. It's like little things like that are like they get really bad. Like if you don't focus on them, people can just like, and like people who don't really do exercise don't notice at all, because they just like think, oh, I've just got back pain, when it's just because one side is like stronger than the other because of something they did before when they were a kid, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's proper. It can
Strange.
get really bad.
What other injuries have you had?
I've had like twisted ankles. There was like, and I broke my toe. That's the only bone I've broken. Luckily, is my toe, and that was from like I jumped to like a wall. That wasn't even like I don't know. I just like jumped to a wall, which I checked. I literally like had tried to pull this thing off like so much. I guess that's probably what weakened it. Was like I was like hitting it like, is this thing gonna stay on? And I like came to conclusion, like there's no way it's coming off. I couldn't even rip it off because I'm so massively strong. And that was sarcasm if you didn't get it. And then I jumped to it and it just flipped off and it just like landed back on my toe. So like I didn't like land bad or anything, just flipped off, landed back on my toe. And that's like, now I've got the fucked up nail on my left toe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And that's
was that when did I know you when that happened?
Maybe. It might have been like just before you came back. It was when I was wearing Puma, what are they called? Puma Field Sprints.
Okay.
Back in the day. That might not mean anything to you. I was definitely wearing them when I first trained with you. Like, not when I first trained with you, when you came back to train.
Yeah. And what's the spot?
You know where Game did that front pre on those flower pot, like circle things?
Oh yeah,
That
yeah,
spot.
another spot in
To
Dorking.
the like left. Where
All
there's, like,
those tiles are loose as fuck.
Bro, I swear down, I spent ages just like checking it. It was so jarring because I was just like, I was fuming. I was just like, I checked it so much, but I guess I just like must have weakened it. And then when I was a kid, at the session, I said I was a kid. I was like maybe 15. At the session, I like fell off the bars and just landed like that flat like side of my foot. Ankle just went, and I like tore the muscles in like the side. Or at least I think I did. I went to the doctors. They were like, "We don't know." It's like, cool. Like you know when you classic go to the doctors and all they do is scan it like with an X-ray and they're like, "It's not broken, so we don't know." And I'm like, "Safe. Well, what am I gonna do?" And they're like, "Here's." They didn't even give me a boot. They were just like, "Oh, we'll just go home and rest it for like some weeks." I'm like, "Cool, great." I really don't I don't know. I haven't had like the best experience with like doctors and stuff because I don't really like going because whenever I go, they just tell me like they don't really tell me anything. They're just like, "Oh yeah, it will heal over some time." And I'm like, "Well, I knew that. Like, might as well just I don't know." So
you're very, very good in a situation when someone gets an injury.
in
I've
what way?
noticed this. So, for example, the most recent one I can think of was George, who's another boy he now is he in Greece?
Bro, I laughed. We both did.
I wasn't going to bring that up. Anyway, so George was doing this run in a spot close to us.
Yeah, he does live in Greece now, by the way.
Yeah.
George Kouliopoulos from Greece now lives in Greece again.
He was doing this run, which essentially ended in a kind of from a sitting position on the wall. I mean, essentially like a dash bomb, but into dive roll. So like a kind of like a kick into dive roll.
I think he was trying to kick off the wall more, so it would have been like a sit and like as he leans off the wall, he pushes off the wall to roll. I don't think he was trying to like actually like kick round, like use the momentum round.
Yeah. Well, anyway, he was doing that, and then on a. No, he wasn't filming, was he? Nah, he just did it, and me and Chris, we were both on top of that wall, weren't we? And then
you were about to film for him, and then he was like, I'm going to try one first.
Yes,
or
that's
something.
exactly it.
And I was going to film for someone else. I think I was about to film for like Dylan or someone.
Yeah, and he just he landed on his more. It didn't basically go over his shoulder at all, and kind of went over to the side, and that was kind of it. He just kind of hit with quite a lot of impact, and kind of when he first got up, he was just kind of like chuckling a bit, and it was kind of weird. And then he walked up to sit on the path, which is just kind of 5 minutes up the hill. And then he sat down, and his face just went white. But anyway, that's sort of irrelevant. My point was just that you have in any situation that I've been in where someone's got injured, Dylan's recent shinning, for example, you're super calm, super just like managing the situation. You tend to have a good idea of what they may need to do in terms of phoning the ambulance or just going home or. This is going to be the right person to call because I think you're going to need stitches, for example. But also, when you get injured,
needed stitches.
Yeah. I mean, looking back, but anyway, but also when you get injured, I think you're just very good at staying calm and just being like, I'm not going to die. This is just something that's gonna.
I get really annoyed really quick. That's the thing. I'll be annoyed and I'll be like, oh, for fuck's sake. And then because the thing that will instantly go through my mind, it won't be like, oh, I'm hurt. It'll be like, I'm not going to be able to train for like 4 weeks, whatever. I'm like, that's gonna be the worst thing in the world because it proper like gets me like, I don't know, it gets me in the shit mindset, and so and then after I'm like okay, that'll be, I can't control that now, and I'm like, might as well go see what I have to do, like go to the doctor, whatever, like sort that out, and then from there I can just work it out, and hopefully improve. Yeah,
it's a very rational like approach. Like as much as I want to say that I do that, I think I'm just by nature I'm a warrior. I just worry all the time.
See, the thing is, I'm like a secret warrior. Like, if you ask Hannah, so I only worry about certain things. I only worry about how much I can train, and that's about it. It's literally like, oh, if my bum's hurt, I can't train. Or if like, oh, I'm losing power when I'm like, I've been injured, have I lost power, sort of thing. Like, am I going to be able to train my full potential again? Or like, am I going to have to like, do whatever to like get back up there? Those are the things I worry about. That's the weird thing. I don't worry about like, money or like all that stuff and like that will sort itself out. It's just all the training. It's so weird, but like it's like when I'm in that sort of mindset, it proper like gets me down because I'm just like the other day when like with my bum now, I'm like I still can't put in 100%, and I like did a standing pre and I was like it was like what my old max was, but I like wasn't doing it as well as I could do now. Like I know I could do now, and then I was like, what if all my like work at the gym has just gone out the window just because of this one thing? And then like I took 5 minutes. I was like, obviously it hasn't. That's a stupid idea. So
yeah, that's good. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I'm fascinated by the idea of just. I think your mind body connection is so fucking strong, and I wonder how much of an impact if you believe that you've lost power. I don't know how much that relates to actually.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I'm interested by it a lot. But
yeah, I mean, when I get into like when I'm like, oh, I wouldn't say I like because I did it because I was doing it. So like the other day, yesterday when we were at the spot at Lovey Logo, classic Dorking spot, this like the standing pre there. I like the first one I did. I was like, that was terrible, and I was like, oh, maybe it's because like my bum. And I was just like, and then I did another one. Like the last one I did was way easier, and I was like, I'm just gonna actually go full power this time, and it felt like I was going the full power I had before. So I think that like that could be partially true in the fact that because I'm injured, I'm then not like. It's definitely true in the fact of committing. Like when you're like slightly injured and you can only put in 90%, it proper like for me it's like, oh, what if I like can't put in the little bit that I need to make the jump sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I only tend to go for stuff that I've like done before, or like I'm super confident doing, and that's why I couldn't do that jump yesterday because I hadn't done it before and I was scared.
Oh, and Pearly, yeah.
The last stride one.
Yeah. Man, it's crazy stuff.
Weird,
is that
weird.
they're the kind of big injuries, aren't they?
Yeah, and then I'd say my biggest one is just like, I'd say like my most like life altering one, I don't know, like change like biggest one would be like the ligament in my knee. So I like last year in summer, James banged his head, or no, something fell on James's head. We went to a hospital. I had like a twinge in my knee on that day before, like on the left knee on the outside, on the LCL. Yeah, it's definitely LCL. MCL's on the inside. And I was like, oh, I won't train today because I've got a weird twingy knee and we're not really doing anything. Like we were building equipment for meta movement. If you don't know what meta movement is, it's our side coaching thing because we're Donnies. You should definitely come, look at the website, book in a class. It's fun as fuck. I love coaching it, and so does Finn. It's really cool. But yeah, so we're building equipment for that. James, a gutter fell off Dylan's roof onto James' head. We take him to hospital. At the hospital, there's like a descent into a castaway thing, and obviously I ended up doing it because I'm easy to peer pressure, and then I landed like heels on the floor and rotated backwards because it was like the highest cast I've ever done outside because it was quite high.
It was high.
And I think, because you know how I said my castaways when I go inwards, I think I went inwards, and that's what pulled it even more. Woke up, didn't hurt on the day. I don't remember saying anything to you guys. I think I might have said like, oh, my knees look a bit funny, like after. It wasn't swollen at all, honestly. Woke up the next day, and it's like you know like when it was massive.
Yeah.
That was it. That was just like the next day.
Man, why was it? Do you remember what was the twinge beforehand? Before that, was that like from an incident, or was it? Just...
I think we went to Red Hill the day before. And I did like so you know when I did the scoot over the grey wall onto the grass to full.
Yeah.
I landed that a bit like kinky on my knees, like it was a bit like
right.
It wasn't like my knees didn't go inwards, but like I could feel like a bit more shocked than usual. But because it was just like a just like made sort of thing. But I think it might have been that. As you can tell, I've spent ages analysing all this stuff, so I can figure out why. And then from there, my knee has just been swollen for how many months? It's gonna be. It was that was like July, end of July.
Yeah,
so from there,
sense.
My knee has just been like the same size since then, and I've gone to like physio and stuff, and they haven't given me like specific answers. One of them gave me something that I thought was completely wrong. Because she was basically like, so your patella is like floating, and it's just attached to like the tendon, but it can move around pretty much on its own. And if it moves around on its own, like so it can scrape like the sides and stuff, and if it scrapes the sides, it can cause like massive amounts of swelling and just like proper fuckery. But that's nowhere near where the pain was, so it makes no sense for it to be there. Like my patella didn't go to the side of my knee and then scrape the side of my knee, you know. And then, like I can feel it pulling on like my calf, so I'm pretty confident it was like the LCL. And then I talked to another physio, and she was like, yeah, it's probably that sort of thing. But like obviously she can't say anything specific because how's she gonna know? And she was the one that told me I needed insoles. She was like, yeah, your knees point inwards because your feet are flat. How has no one told you this before? And I was like, I don't know. I'm not a physio, so. And she was basically like, yeah, well, once you get insoles, that will sort that out, and then your knees will be stronger, and the swelling will probably take... I got told the first time, she was like, it could take like a year to go down, and then the second one was like, yeah, I can't tell you how long it would take to go down. Because it hasn't gone down after so long, it could take like more than a year, like even from now sort of thing. So I have no idea when it'll go down. It currently doesn't affect me at all, except for that one time when it was really cold after the gym and my knee just like seized up. But other than that, it doesn't really get too bad. I just have to she was literally like, you need to make sure you're rolling out your quads, because if you don't, the swelling will just keep going. With the amount of exercise we do, the swelling will just like get too much and I won't be able to use it properly. Whereas like, as long as I roll out and get rid of all that sort of stuff and like stretch, the swelling goes away and I can just like train properly. Well, not goes away, but it goes to a manageable size.
You're very disciplined on stretching and rolling and stuff. You're really, really good at that.
I try and just do it. Well, now because of this, I think it's because of this. It's like forced me to like do it, and like I now literally do my quad. I roll out my quads and stretch them every night, even if I didn't train.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's
just have to.
Incredible discipline. I've started doing a thing. I've been doing mobility in the mornings, like a mobility kind of or stretch, whatever, like whatever I feel I need really, for I don't know, somewhere close to 5 or 6 months now, which is amazing. I love it. It's
That's
just now,
so long.
Yeah, it's just part of my morning now, and I've gone through stages of that. Of I used to. I think I started out by just picking and choosing from different like morning mobility routines and just choosing the bits that I liked. Then I started trying to tailor it to things that I knew I had. So I think this is self-diagnosed, but for a while I was pretty, and I still am fairly confident. I had an anterior tilt in my pelvis, so I was doing stuff like putting some extra care into my hip flexors because they do get incredibly tight. So I was kind of doing that. And then, and that kind of evolved. And now what I do is, during the morning I'll sit and I'll kind of, well, it's meditation in quotation marks. I just kind of sit and I just like think for 3 minutes, and it's not like I don't try and get too deep into it. I think I would like to. I really enjoy it, but I just sit and I just try and feel what I think my body needs. It's only when I sit and I just really just like kind of hone in, I can feel like, oh man, I've got like my shoulders are tight as fuck.
That sounds sick as fuck.
It's really nice, man. Honestly.
I might give that a go.
And it's less like, because I'm have a tendency to be very obsessive. So I'll write like a list of this is what I need to do in the morning for mobility, and I'll stick to it. But this way, I'm now in quite a nice position with it, and I just listen to my body, and I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I'm tight here, or and it's not just that. It's like, well, yesterday I trained loads, and my hamstrings are pretty sore, so I'll just put some time into that, and that's really nice. And I really enjoy that now.
That's really cool. Yeah, I want to start. That sounds sick. I might give that a go. Just like, because I wouldn't say like whenever I stretch, I always focus on the stuff that feels more like. So I never just go and just like I don't just go, oh, I've done like this, so I'll just like that. I know that affects this, so I'll definitely do loads of this. I sort of go, oh, I did this, but right now this is like feels more like tight, so I'm gonna give that a go, just because I feel like if like something doesn't feel massively tight, obviously I do like a whole routine, so it'd be like everything anyway, but I'll focus more on like certain things if they feel more tight, as opposed to like just going by what I think should feel more tight just because I've done something specific. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's really good. And yeah, rolling as well. I might roll a bit in the mornings if I think I'd benefit from it, but I try and roll in the evenings. I find it so nice before bed. Like, just that feeling after rolling out is just so nice.
I'll do both. So depending on what day it is. So if it's a Wednesday, I'll do both, and that's because if I go to the gym and I'll roll my quads, because if I go to the gym and my left knee is still massive, I can't squat properly, and that really bums me out. So I like to roll out before, and then I get there and I'm like, oh, I can squat properly, and it's paying, because squats are fucking fun as fuck.
They are. Squats and deadlifts are my favourite.
I really like bench press, but
really,
that's just me.
I hate it. I hate the feeling of being under something incredibly heavy.
Yeah, but that's what squat is. Squat is literally you're like being crushed, like not crushed, but like you're like when you get to that, like you're like 1 rep max. I literally like get up and I'm like, whoa, this is gonna crush me, and I just like do the squat like, oh, it didn't crush me, well done.
Yeah, but you don't have to look at it when you're under, especially on that setup, and you're looking at it's basically just above your fucking bridge of your nose.
It's terrible when you fail. When you fail a bench press and you don't have anyone spotting you. Like when you see Tom Taylor did it, and he like had to roll the bar off. It's terrible, and we can't roll the bar off because of the cage. So if you're on your own and you do it, and like it goes on top of you, you can't roll the bar off because of the cage. So you just have to sit there and be like, can someone lift this off me?
Oh.
Nah, but I don't know. I quite like it.
I've never done.
But I've always been like an army geezer. I'm just like, eh.
Yeah. Yeah, your bench press is ridiculous. I've never done a 1 rep max or gone for a 1 rep max without having a spotter. I'm just not
I did it once. I haven't failed it though. So I'll analyze it. I'll like go for like. I'll do my old 1 rep max, and then I'll like obviously add on the little bits in between. And as I get further on, I'm like, oh, I don't think I could do that on my own. If there's a risk of me not being able to do it, I just won't bother. I'll wait till someone else like another day. So like for example, I did 92.5 on the last time. Then I redid it like the next week because of some shitty reason. And then on the next week I didn't think I could do 95 on the day I did 92.5, so I left it. And then Finn was with me the next time, so I was like, oh, I'll get Finn to spot me. And I did 95, and it was kind of okay.
Wait, you've done 95?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I want to get that 100 kgs.
That's crazy. I remember you saying you got 92.5. I didn't know you'd hit 95 as well.
Yeah, so I think I put 92.5 on the chat, and then like I redid it when Ethan came and Finn came on Monday this week.
Yeah. Are you getting like a good benefit from the gym? Do you feel it impacting your training much?
Yeah, loads.
Really?
Unbelievable amounts, yeah.
Yeah,
I
me
like
too.
height drops feel so much more comfy. Like I literally like I used to hate it. I used to hate like Finn would always do like droppy prees and I'm like I don't want to. And now like droppy prees are like one of my favourite things to do. I do them all the time. Like for example that Red Hill pre, like the one that like, goes down, the like Harvey, Callum and well me and Finn have now done as well. I like literally before when Harvey first did that I was literally like oh my god. That's like disgusting. There's no way I'll do that because like standing prees down were like my least comfortable thing, and now it's just like, now I loved it. Like when I did it, I was just like that was fun as fuck. Like, it's proper cool, and my standing prees increased by half a step. So
Yeah, mine too.
speaks for itself, really.
Yeah, I've been. I mean, as you know, Chris, I've been on Tom Taylor's strength and conditioning plan for. Well, I'm just in the. I did an 18-week thing, and in my final phase now. I think I've got the 2 weeks left, which reminds me I need to give them a shout. Yeah. I cross them off after each one. Especially, there's nothing more satisfying than if I've had like a tough session at the gym. If I'm like a bit tired or whatever, and I really struggle through, like final sets or whatever, I'll come back and just scribbling off that week's session is just so nice. It's such a satisfying thing. Anyway, but I'm the same as you. I felt such a crazy benefit from going. In so many aspects, I feel like I can train for longer. The most noticeable things for me are my jumps increase, my standing precision, and with it, that's helped me to feel more confident in throwing bigger jumps, like getting closer to like throwing a max jump, and so that's really helped in that respect as well. But but also the biggest thing actually, I think, or one of, is 180s. My 180s have got so much better. My climb ups.
I think 180s have like excelled. Like so now you know when you do a 180 and you pull up and you put your like you want to aim for your foot to go to the top of the wall. Yeah. I've been watching my 180s like since going to the gym, and my foot always go like that. There's like one like a picture and like my foot is like you know with like the top of the wall's there and my foot is like literally just underneath it. It's so sick to see because I'm like oh that's. I mean it's kind of cool but it's also kind of not because it's kind of like that's like the max height I can get for 180. So. I have to find another way of making them bigger now, but it's kind of sick to be like, oh, okay, I can like pretty much do like a max like size 180 for my own strength and size sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 180s. It was only fairly recently. I think I don't want to get this wrong. I think Finn was the one who pointed out to me a technique he'd seen Tim Champion do, which was just throwing your arms up and over.
Yeah,
and
so
how I'd not clocked that before, I don't know. But that was just clicked. I was like, fuck, now I understand.
I feel like that was last year.
Yeah.
And it was, I'm pretty confident. I think I was there for competition. I'm pretty confident. Finn said, I saw on this video that Tom Taylor told Ed to do that on like one of the 180s in like an extra video, from one of the Storm videos, I think.
Sure.
Like a vlog. And then it does it and he makes it. So, yeah. But yeah, that is like such a logical thing to just like throw your arms with you because a lot of people don't. You got a well big 180. Your 180 is huge. Bigger than mine.
I really, really, really enjoy them. And I have some big ones that I've got planned. I've got my eye on.
There's some big boys.
Yeah. I honestly have nothing but good words to say about. Well, firstly, strength and conditioning in general, and secondly, Tom Taylor's plan. I mean,
Tommy T.
Yeah, I mean he honestly every time I've had like an issue, if I'm struggling to meet sets and I just want to say, you know, I phoned him once or sent him a voice message and just said, if I'm really struggling with a set, should I bring the weight down and meet the right reps, or should I keep the weight and, you know, take longer breaks or whatever? But my point is that he's always up for just
talking about it.
It's not like here's your plan. Now I've done what you've paid for, sort of thing, and that's it. He's every time I've had an issue, he's been more than happy to help, and like I feel like the plan was tailored to me really well. What I like my goals and ambitions.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's part of it. So yeah, I mean nothing but good words to say about it. Really have, but
yeah. In terms of like overall visual, like all that, what I feel I've improved on with like the gym, I feel like standing pre is like the main one. Like I literally like feel my standing pre just increase not massively. Like I remember like when you were when you were going to the gym, like it was just you and like Dennis, and like I wasn't like neither was Finn or anyone, and I definitely got to a point where I was like, my standing pre is not going to get any bigger unless I go to the gym. And I think I'd like said, I'd said it to like people. I'd be like, well, I'm at the point. I was like, I need to start going to the gym as soon as I can afford it, because I'm at the point where I physically can't get any better without the gym. And I think that was 100% true, because I've now gone to the gym, and I've now got way better. And it's literally just been from the gym. It's not been from like practicing like standing pre's and stuff. I wouldn't say I have like flawless standing pre technique, but I've been like doing standing pre's for however long all the time, and there's something I'm super like comfortable trying. Like I've always been comfortable trying my max. So whenever I do them, I always try my max, and so like I don't feel like just doing them on their own was ever gonna like push me to that further bit. Whereas this, like the gym and stuff, is proper like made them like half a step bigger is huge, and I feel like
that's crazy.
And like now and because of that, I now have like a bigger plyo, and like my running pre's probably like the same, but like my plyo is bigger. Like doing like Kong pre's are probably like everything's like a little bit bigger because of it, and it's sick.
Yeah.
And it makes like flips cleaner and stuff because you can go higher and all that stuff. Is so sick.
I feel like it gives you growing room. It's like, okay, now here's some extra power. Now, where can you put it? Sort of thing. Like, can you know like now it's a case of readjusting technique to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's really cool. I was wondering this the other day. I wonder if our sport will ever get to the point when there's strength and conditioning coaches dedicated to athletes for a long period of time. Sort of like Tom and the Deep South boys. I mean, they've been with him, I think, for close to 2 years, maybe?
Well, yeah, Tim posted on his Insta the other day saying that he had been doing Tom Taylor's plan for 2 years. Yeah,
well, there you go. But I mean, in a sense of like, almost like a coach on a fighter's fight camp week. That sort of like intensity. Yeah. Like, if athletes will ever have an opportunity to be looked after by a nutritionalist and a strength and conditioning coach and a sleep coach and all that stuff. Imagine. It would be
so mad.
Yeah.
Imagine if someone was just telling you the right things to do every single day. I'd be so gassed.
It'd be crazy. Someone was giving you your meal, like all your meals were prepped. Your like sleep was monitored. You were doing like, I've seen, so I think Sydney and Jesse, and I think actually Brian Riggins, I believe, in Seattle, they both go quite regularly to, is it Bulletproof Labs?
I don't know.
I think, I'm going to butcher that if I try. I don't want to give too many specifics, but I've seen a few people who are now doing like, all like the ice tanks and all that crazy stuff, like new wave rehab.
Daryl Stingley does that.
Yes.
I think I can't confirm, but I think he's like sponsored by one, because he literally goes there, does like a story all the time, and like goes in and out. And then he like took Tim and Ed and like George when they were in that area.
Yeah.
And, like Joe, he does it all the time and it looks sick.
I'd love that experience.
I tell you what I want. I want to go to a chiropractor, because I just really want like all my joints just be clicked and just like feel fucking sick like the next day.
Yeah.
It'd be so good.
I went to a chiropractor once. Sometime last year with something in my back. It was I think it was from doing too many fulls. It was when I was really trying to lock down my standing full.
Oh yeah.
And that was like a month after I'd learnt scoot fulls, and I was throwing a lot of corks, and it was just, I think it was just that twerk. I think
standing
torque.
Fulls and like standing fulls can like really mess your back, because like when you because as you're like pulling, you're like trying your best to land your feet and not touch your hands, and then so your back, like if you're not high enough, your chest is always low, and then you like end up landing with like and you're like facing the floor, and your feet are just like underneath you, so like your back just like gets put down, like you get like forced down. Like I've definitely had that before, and it's like proper bad.
Totally.
I don't really do standing fulls anymore because I don't like them.
Yeah, I'd noticed something in my back, and I'd been that was when I was working in the cinema for a little while, and I had a bit more money than I do now. but I'd said, okay, sweet, I'm gonna try and figure this out and what it is, and find like the right approach. And I even did acupuncture for that. I did a session of acupuncture, which I didn't even know what to say about it. It was such a weird experience.
Because of the person, or because of the ideas?
No, just because of the process.
Oh right.
I found it very strange, and I personally didn't feel a benefit, but I don't know if that's because I went in so skeptical.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how much of that's like placebo. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I shouldn't even really comment on it. But I personally didn't feel like a benefit from the acupuncture. But then I also went to a chiropractor, and she was like, "Yeah, you're out of line as fuck." I was like, "Okay." She said, "So my pelvis, yeah, you know, this is." And I remember
Did she do
telling
the short
her.
Foot thing where they like see
Yeah,
which
she
legs
did.
longer?
Yeah.
I love that. I love when they like you watch a video and they're like oh, one foot's like short, then they click something and then it just like comes back. I'm like, that's so sick.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, and so I mentioned earlier about that I thought I'd had a anterior tilt in my pelvis, and I think I said to her that was what I thought might be part of the problem at least, which I bet people hate. They must hate when it's kind of, this is what I've got. And it's like, well, not at all. Anyway, and she said, yes, you're right, you've got an anterior pelvic tilt, but you've also, there's 3 ways the pelvis can be like askew. There's forwards and backwards, side to side, and like a turn. Yeah. And I had all 3. How fucked is that?
That's terrible.
Yeah. Anyway, but I was so prepped to go in. This was part of the attraction for me, was also the clicking. Like, I just wanted to be like clicked back to full health. But no clicks. There was nothing.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't get a single. It was like super like relaxed and just kind of pressing various bits. And
I feel like I'd go and not get any clicks because I always like click everything on my own. I feel like I'd go like not get any clicks and be like, why don't I get any clicks? And they'll be like, probably because you click yourself all the time. Like, you've already done it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Interesting
all
stuff.
That stuff's so cool. Like, I just love how like you can just like fix stuff from like other stuff. It's mad.
For sure.
It's cool. We've talked a lot about injuries.
Yeah, we have. We did have another topic lined up.
We did, but I don't think.
What's the time
to cover it? 50 mins.
50 mins.
50 mins.
Well, should we just press through to our little close then?
Yeah, I think we should talk about more like how we deal with like being injured.
Okay.
And then from there we like push on to the end bit.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Give it a little 10-minute section.
You start.
I find it really hard to deal with being injured. I find it super tough. Like, it's proper bad. You know when you sort of, I don't know. I literally like get. That's when, like, because like I said, the only thing I really worry about is parkour. So that's when all my worrying comes out. Like, every night I'll be like sat in bed. Like when this first happened, like when my knee was first like swelling up, like the literally the night I stayed at Hannah's 2 nights in a row. I think I stayed at Hannah's 2 nights in a row. Either way, I was there. My knee was swollen. I was just like, Hannah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. My knee's just swollen. Like, what if it never goes? Like, what? I was just like, I say stupid things, and it's like, what if it never goes down? And she's like, well, it will go down. I'm like, yeah, I know, but what if it doesn't? I just go like proper like into that sort of mindset, and like when it's like a long-lasting thing where like my knee has been swollen now for like at least 6 months, and when it gets to August, it'll be a year. And if it hasn't, like, if by August it's got to the point where it's like still the same amount of swelling, I'll literally just be like, what if it never, like, I'll just accept the fact that it's never going away. And there was a point when I first did it, like, I'd say like 3 months in, I had like 0 improvement. Like, it just wasn't getting any, like, it wasn't going down at all. And I was like, well, I guess it's just never going away. Because I feel like you sort of like don't notice with stuff where like, unless it's like a break or like that sort of thing, you don't expect it to take like more than like a month to go down. Or at least I never do. Like it's been a week since I hit my bum and it's basically got back to normal like already. So it's kind of like fine. Whereas like this is like, it'd been like 2 weeks and I'm like, it's not getting any better. Been like 4 weeks, not getting any better. Like 2 months, I was like, not getting any better. I was like, well, I guess it's just there forever. And like I've essentially planned to just deal with it for the rest of my life, but it's proper. I find that proper hard because it's just like what I've now got to the point where I don't remember my knee not being swollen, and I find that so sad because I'm just like I didn't have to worry. I was like there's no worries or anything like, and I find that so hard. I get really sad, but then I cheer myself up by training. It's so cool.
Yeah. Do you have another like coping mechanism or? Say if your bum was a little bit worse and you weren't able to train at all this week, do you have like a way of dealing with that?
I'd go out training but not train. So I'd go like hang out with you guys because then I could just watch you guys. I like when I'm not like, it's only when I'm at home or like I suffer so much when I'm on my own. I'm like literally like I'll just like sit there and think about it. But when I'm like doing stuff or like watching something I like. If I'm like watching a video, I won't think about it. It's like, oh, this is like a sick video or something. I'm easily distracted, and so like from there I can just distract myself.
Yeah.
It's only like those little moments before bed, and like I'm just like, oh, what if my knee doesn't get any better? And then it gets to the next day, I'm like, I'm alright, I'll go training, it's cool.
Yeah. I don't know if I've really got a coping mechanism. If the knee was bad enough that I couldn't train, or if that was still a threat, I don't know what my coping mechanism would be. So for a time, I mean, I don't want to go too much into this again, but back when I left the surgeon's office, and he basically said, I mean, the kind of end rule was you can have surgery, the recovery time's 9 months. Even after that, it might not hold. The suture might fall out, so it might not even be worth it.
I remember you telling me, you were just like, it's either go for this thing, be out for a year or whatever, or like almost a year, and then it might not even work. And I was like, well, what's the point? Like,
yeah.
I just like my opinion was, what's the point?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That was like the option, and I remember leaving the office, and I literally, I think I held it together until I got in the car, and I closed the door, and I was just fucking sat there, and it just like. Completely fell apart, and then for days after I came home, and Mum like clocked on instantly something was wrong. She's like, "What's up?" And I just told her, and yeah, but I don't know. I just feel like if that was to happen, if I wasn't able to train, I think all the stuff that I do would just fall away with it. You know,
that'd be a whole new market.
Yeah, but okay, insane. I mean, so here's the little ladder. This is like, whether or not this would happen, I don't know. But so I wouldn't train, and because I'm not training, I wouldn't have the motivation to go to the gym. I wouldn't have the motivation to eat well. I wouldn't have, all this like help. Like I try and get like a good amount of sleep every night. Like I'm quite regimented with it, and there's other reasons why I get up at the same time pretty much. Well, not pretty much every single day. I have done. Yeah. There's other reasons that I do that, but mostly it's kind of all feeds back into training. So then, but because of that, and then as a result of these things that I do, like going to the gym and eating well, like I feel better, and I feel like it helps me appreciate other things that I do, and it helps me to feel inspired and excited about filmmaking and other. It just helps me kind of build that appreciation and just like be like who I am. So it's such a like it all revolves around training. So if that was to happen, if I couldn't train for a year, like I have no idea what that would have been like. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say if I like couldn't train for like a year. I don't think I wouldn't say like my whole life would fall apart. I think I'd probably still go to the gym, but only because now after going to the gym, I feel way more like that's only just for like personal reasons. Just like I feel more like body confidence sort of stuff, and that's like a lot nicer. And so I do appreciate that a lot more. So I probably would still do that. I would definitely still hang out with people who train because watching people train would be sick as fuck. It would be annoying that I can't train, but I don't know. I definitely would not be as I wouldn't be in the best place because I'd just be like proper like upset about it. Like I'd definitely be sad about it, but I also don't think. I think I can like. I'm quite good at just like not thinking about things, so I'll just like keep going and do a little. Like each day, I'll just like do a different thing or like try and do something. Try and find something new to do, sort of thing, and distract myself. But I do find it tough because I only train really.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good approach to me, and I'd like to think I'd do the same.
Yeah.
But I can't say for sure. Like
the thing is for me is like most of the time when I'm like injured, I'm like, oh well, it will get better because. It has to and I want to train sort of thing. Like I'm just like, oh well, I know, like I've been told it's going to get better. Like the body works in like that kind of way where like things do get better. Like even if it's like a life altering thing, things get better to a certain point, and then from there it stops. So even if you like shattered your like pelvis, your pelvis will, even if you like didn't have any surgery or anything to like fix it, your pelvis will get better to a certain point, and then it will stop being, and then that it will stay there. So like. If my knee got even worse, it would still get better to a point where I could probably walk, or I don't know, or something like I'd probably walk with like a cane, and then I just have to adapt training to training with a cane.
Yeah, and then you'll just do whatever's in your
I always feel like I'll always just try and do whatever I can. Like even if I can't do everything, I'll just be like I'm going to do what I can. That like I've never I've never had a doubt where it's like this is going to stop me training. It's always been like I'm just going to try and do whatever I can. I've always said that if I was ever in a wheelchair, I'd always just do you know, when like you see people at the skate park do like wheelchair, like ramping off stuff. I'll do that because it's basically close enough to training.
Yeah, that's such a good attitude to have. Actually, that really is.
It's because if I stopped, I'd probably cry.
Yeah, fair play. Fair play.
So, but like I can't say what I'd do if I had like a proper like world-shattering thing where like I went to the doctor like, yeah, this is not getting better. You're not gonna be able to. I don't know. You're not gonna be able to like. If I got hit by a bus and they were literally like, oh, you're paralysed for life, I'd be like, well, I don't know. I'd just have to figure something out. I'd probably just become the world's first paralysed parkour coach and just be like, you should do that, because I feel like I'm quite good at it, so I enjoy it. I just focus on that sort of thing.
I find it so enjoyable, just like analysing parkour, like watching someone break down the challenge. Not even breaking it down, but you know, kind of mental side, like the mental aspect kind of aside, just watching someone figure out, oh, what if I you know, change my hand placement, or you know, whatever it is, and just like I love to see these little intricacies. So that gives me encouragement that if I wasn't able to train, I know I love the sport. I know I love it. I don't think that would go. You know, even if I couldn't train, I'd still.
I'd be 100% still watching. I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, I'd still be watching videos, like no matter what. Like I'd say when I'm injured, I watch more videos than I ever do before, because I'm just like so like I wish I was doing this right now, sort of thing. And I feel like if I was permanently injured, I'd just do the same thing. I'd be like, well, I need to get like, even if it's through someone else, I need to get a fix on like jumping on a wall, even if it's just watching someone else jump on a wall, sort of thing.
Yeah, there's a word for that. Something along the lines of like vicarious living.
What, living through someone?
Yeah. And I think that's part of the reason why vlogging so.
It's such a big thing, because people like live their lives through someone else's lives. I wouldn't watch vlogs though. I'd watch real jumps.
Yeah, no, me too. But I definitely see the attraction of it.
Yeah, but
you know, like people who watch like a day in the life of, you know, a full day of eating or whatever, and it's like they'll watch some. Yeah, there's that, like with like bodybuilders and like just, mad shit.
Eat.
Yeah, but people who watch like a full day of eating, and then I bet there's people who will then just go and eat shit. You know, or they'll watch someone like do some like grueling exercise routine and then just like jump in the car and do it 9 to 5, whatever. You know, I'm not saying anything.
I feel like these sort of things are weird. Like live it like that. The idea of like just watching someone else's life to me is a bit weird, because when I like growing up into like parkour and stuff, I was just watching like the story videos, and you watch them do the travelling. I was always like, oh, that's so sick, and like, but I was always like, I need to do that myself. It was never like, oh, I'm going to keep watching these guys do that. It was always, I'm going to go do that one day. And like now it's like the time when I'm like going and doing that as much as I can, and like going to other places, doing jumps there, or like climbing like Trolltunga and like mountains and stuff, and all that shit. So I don't know. I don't think I get full fulfillment from watching someone else do something else.
No, I completely agree.
I definitely would need to go do it myself.
Yeah.
To sort of like get the real thing, because it's way better. Like just watching someone do it is like, yeah, that's cool. Then you do it yourself and like, this is insane, sort of thing.
Yeah, I definitely use like that sort of thing. Not like full day of eating sort of stuff, but I definitely use videos and that as like inspiration.
Yeah, well, I use them to motivate me. I see someone else do it and I go, that looks fucking cool, I'm going to go do it. It's the same with like, before you go training, you watch a big parkour video and you go, that was cool, I now want to do something like that, you know?
Totally, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you wrapped that up kind of nicely.
Yeah, that kind of went quite coolly towards the end. So we're going to talk about our ending topic. So the last couple of weeks we did underrated stuff. So we did underrated videos was the second one, and underrated athletes was the first one. We might come back around to those like in a bit, just because people might pop up, or like videos might pop up. But today we're going to do underrated clips from specific videos, because we're just such parkour nerds that we delve deep into the videos and we think, oh, this didn't get noticed, so we're going to talk about this. I'm going to hand off to Marcus first, and then I'll say mine after.
Okay, cool. Yeah, this is such a good question. We were talking just before we started the podcast on what we could do this week. I think underrated stuff seems to be like a bit of a theme. It's just fun to talk about. I don't know why.
Because I feel like you talk about something, you think, oh, everyone like appreciates this thing, but then you're like, but this is really cool.
Yeah, here's something that slipped under the radar.
It makes you more excited to like, have something new that's like there, or like not new, but like not everyone knows about, and then like you bring it up and like everyone finds out. Like it's like, so like Jordan Tyler Lee, when like no one, like we met him like going to Fort winter in 2000 and it's 2019 now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Was it 2018? No, 2017. Must have been.
Not sure.
It was the one after the first one. So
Right.
we went to summer in 2017, I think, then winter in 2017. We met him then on the train on the way there. I had no clue who he was. I don't know if you did.
Nope.
We got there. He was sick, obviously. And now he's just like this massively like sponsored athlete. Like you can't if you know parkour and you know like the Motors projects, you know who he is because of that. Whereas and so I feel like he went from that like little stage of like no one really knows quite who he is, and then he like built up to being underrated. It's like, oh my god, this guy's sick. And then he got to like that point like, and now he's like proper known. I love like finding things before then. Like I love the fact that we met him before then. I was like start following him on Instagram. And I was like, and I watched him progress into this like amazing thing that like everyone sort of like knows
Amazing
about.
thing.
Well, amazing parkour guy.
Yeah,
you know?
totally. Yeah, that's true. Okay, well, back on our topic this week. So mine. When I was thinking about it, I suddenly thought of what I wanted to say. Like I thought of the move, and then I couldn't think of what video it was from. Like I had a good idea of where it would be, but we must have watched so many videos.
I watched like
trying to find
4 Botang videos.
Yeah.
And then like a couple of Parkour
all the
Sunday
Parkour
ones.
Sundays videos. Yeah. And then Alex Witchell came to the rescue. I sent him a message on Instagram saying, "Where is this clip?" Because I didn't want to say where it was without being this is where you can see it, because it is fucking sick. So and that sort of brings, okay, I'll say the move. So the move is Brodie Pawson. They did a trip, as far as I can tell, starting in Australia. They went through Singapore and I believe some places in China, maybe.
Yeah, they went through like Asian areas.
And basically made their way over into Europe. And then
a long old trip as well. That's so
Yeah.
mad. Must have cost some
big
pee.
trip. Yeah, and they ended in. Well, actually, did they end in the UK? I'm not sure. But anyway, part of it was in the UK, and they spent a lot of time with David and Alex and the boy and some of the other Horsham boys. And Brodie did this Kong Prix at a spot called RSA in Horsham, which is the black rails. You would have seen it in lots of Storo videos. Max does a big old ply to rails there. All the Witchell training videos, Parkour Sundays, it features quite heavily in that. And Brodie does this Kong Prix from the black rail down to the flower bed. And this goes to show that it's underrated. It's not even in their UK video. It's not in the B&E UK video, which is where I assumed it would be. I was shocked when I watched it all the way through again. That's an underrated video in itself. That's crazy. There's some big stuff in that video. Anyway, so this Kong Prix is from a rail down to the flower bed. It's an angle. You've got a big pillar on your left-hand side. It's so much about it is gross. And he just does it.
And it's massive.
Perfectly. And it's big.
And it's big.
If that was a wall-to-wall with a nice long run up and it was straight, it would still be like sick.
Yeah, it'd still be hard.
It's just fucked. It's absolutely fucked. So, that's it.
What's the name
the video's
of the video?
The clip's in a video called No Nonsense.
Yeah, which is by Parkour
Sundays. A Parkour Sundays video called No Nonsense. I think it's episode 38. Check that out. It's towards the end of the video. The whole video's sick. It's one of the later Parkour Sundays videos, one of the last few. I think maybe that's the last second or third video. Whole video's great. Bit of an underrated video actually in itself, but that clip, man, that clip is insane.
Yeah. Right. Well, my one is coming from a video that's incredibly well known. Everyone will probably have seen it, but I feel like everyone talks about like all the big moves in that video. So it's from Resurgence by the Motors Projects, and I'm not going to say the move just yet because I'm going to tease it. I'm going to make it like come out slowly. But so I feel like everyone talks about like Max doing the Kong Pri and like Luke doing the double down, and like even like I feel like even like people like I remember I was blown away by that Joseph Marks doing that Kong front Pri at Barbican Grill and then like scooting to like 7 out. Like, I was like blown away by that. I don't think even I like clocked it like the first time I watched it. I was just like, oh yeah, that was cool. Move on to like the next big thing that happened. But it's Keelan Ryan doing touchdown A-twist clear over that Wandsworth classic like double gap, or like it's more like not many people have doubled it, but it's like Kong Pri gap. And it's just like having been there, like now, having been to that spot and seeing it, I'm just like, that's really far to like I've tried touchdown A-twists. They're really hard, so I don't know how he is doing them over like a fat gap, especially as no one else really does them. Like you don't really see anyone do them. I feel like that's just like that got like left under, like no one really like talked about it because of all these other big moves, and no one really understood how hard that was because no one's doing it, sort of thing. Whereas now I just sort of think that's probably one of my favourite clips because it's just really cool. It's like a flip gap with like a twist and like a touchdown. Like it's like all those crazy things mixed together over like a drop in the middle and clearing a second wall. It's just like kind of mad.
And running across a road.
Yeah, innit? And running through traffic. If you don't know,
a roundabout.
That roundabout is shit because the traffic is constantly coming, and then the lights stop. The lights stop the traffic, but it's literally like it's like for like a minute. It's not long at all. You don't have time to like sort yourself out. You have to just be like, the traffic's gone, I'm going.
Yeah.
It's really jarring. I remember when we went there, like it took like a while to get over it. So props on that because that was sick.
Yeah, that's such a good one. That's such a good
cool
one. Yeah, fair play.
I've got some others for a different time.
Okay.
Because they're cool.
You'll tell me afterwards. I want to hear it.
I'll tell you after. I won't reveal them to you.
We'll wrap this up and then we'll just nerd out for the next 6 hours.
Just talk about the rest of the stuff we want to talk about.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah. So I hope you've enjoyed listening to us talk about parkour constantly. Well, mainly to do with injuries and us not liking them at all because they're not fun. And then occasionally some parkour-y stuff and some gym stuff in between. But yeah, it was fun talking about it. Like, comment and subscribe on YouTube, I guess, because that's what people say. And then on SoundCloud, I think subscribe. I don't know, is it subscribing or following? Something on SoundCloud. Sure.
Yeah, we are on SoundCloud now. That's worth mentioning. We had quite a few comments or on DMs or whatever, just saying you need to put this somewhere that we can listen. You know, it's now on SoundCloud.
Like, go on Spotify.
Yeah.
Spotify costs money. Okay.
We're poor as fuck. We
don't
have none of that. One day, hopefully, we'll get this on Spotify and iTunes, and it will be all blessed. But for the time being, it's on Spotify. You can still download them. You can listen to them offline. You can have them on your phone.
So it's on Spotify.
Did I?
Yeah, you went. For the time being, it's on Spotify. That's a lie. For the time being, it's on SoundCloud.
SoundCloud.
You can listen to it. You can listen to it while locking your phone. Fun fact: if you get the SoundCloud app, you can lock your phone and listen to it. So it's literally zero effort.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, and we'll try and get them out in other places as well in the near future. But for the time being, yeah, enjoy it, and yeah,
do some jumps.
Peace.
Goodbye.
Peace.
Bye, people of the world. Suck your mum.